What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Magnetic Discovery for the donation to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love to Too Raw for TV. All right, so he had a question. He wanted my opinion on this particular topic. He wanted me to give my thoughts on whether or not the media, and maybe fans, I guess, too, are paying too much attention to the Lakers' current win streak. All right. The Lakers, of course, have won a great majority of their games, I'd say, over the past month. Hell, preceding, maybe going back 5 or 6 weeks, going back to before Anthony Davis was traded for Luka Doncic. And a stat that surprised me is that over the past 6 weeks, the Lakers have apparently the number one defense in the NBA. I think definitely in the West, but I think in the NBA as well. And so, is this real? Is this the Lakers turning the corner and becoming at least a contender in the Western Conference? I tend to think that the trade for Luka has, at least at the moment, ignited some new life in this team. You know, I think that they are reacting to some of the changes. I think that tends to happen when there's a big trade. Players who may have been sort of going through the motions or may have come into certain ball games feeling like, doesn't really matter if we win or we're probably not going to win this particular game or whatever. Now they feel like with Luka, it's just new energy. It seems like, okay, well, now we're playing for something particularly. I don't know. You could definitely look at that part of it. Also, people got to keep something else in mind here, and that is that the Lakers have been beating, although they do have some quality wins, but for the most part, they still have been beating mediocre or depleted teams. And even with the Luka addition, so far he's played in 5 games. 4 of those 5 games have been subpar performances by Luka's standards. The one good performance came against an actual real team. You know what I'm saying? When they really needed that performance. So there's that. You know what I'm saying? Because they could easily be, I think they're 4-1 since Luka got there. They could easily be 3-2, which is rather mediocre. Whatever the hell their record is since Luka got there. I'm just not convinced, though. Because, yeah, they're playing well right now statistically, but you got to look at who they're playing. Another thing, too, that I've noticed about their record that might be a little bit misleading is, if I recall correctly, recently the Lakers have had a lot of breaks in between games. 3 days in between games. I think they had one stretch where they only played like 2 games in a week. Right now, I've noticed a lot of teams been playing back-to-backs. There's been a lot of rash of injuries in the NBA. I don't know. I got to look at exactly who they've been beating and, look at each game situational by situational. But I'm not convinced the Lakers are all of a sudden a great defensive team. No. JJ Redneck is not a defensive coach. LeBron James is not a great defensive player. Luka Doncic is not a great defensive player, obviously. So I don't buy that. If it somehow lasts, I will be absolutely floored. What I think is going to happen is ultimately the flaws of this team is still going to come back to bite them. Their lack of interior presence eventually is going to cost them. Yes, they might win a game here or there. Yes, Luka had a great performance when they needed it against the Denver Nuggets. But I don't see them beating, obviously, Denver, because in a 7-game series, you got to somehow be able to overcome that monster named Luka. That monster named Joker. And I don't see that. And not only that, the Lakers aren't a great defensive team. You got two of the poorer defenders in the NBA and LeBron and Luka on the same club. And I just don't see LeBron James staying in a situation or flourishing or being happy, I should say, in a situation where he's playing second fiddle to Luka. We know this guy's the egomaniac. Eventually, he's going to want to break out of that. But I will say this, though, about the Lakers. With Luka, they do have a guy who is not afraid to take that big shot down the stretch of games. That's been one of the Achilles heel of LeBron James. I know people say, no, statistically, he is clutch, whatever. I know what I see with him. And I saw that recently where with the Lakers, he's with 1 of 29 in clutch situations in fourth quarter and overtime with less than 10 seconds on the clock or something like that. So at the end of the day, they do have that going for them. They got a real legit clutch performer on their club that they didn't have previously. So that could give them a puncher's chance. I think the Lakers are probably going to end up being a second round out, if I had to take a guess. I think they'll probably get out of the first round and then go down as a relatively tough out in the second round, like 6 or 7 games. That's my guess about this Lakers squad. But, the thing that irritates most people about the media or LeBron fans, because they're not really like true blue Laker fans doing this, is either the media or LeBron fans, is the minute that they start losing 1 or 2 games in a row, they're the most bipolar fan base in sports history. They win a couple of games, all of a sudden, they're a championship contending team. They lose a game or two, then all of a sudden now, they need to make another big trade. Whoever is the guy not playing well needs to be traded. They're a bust. If LeBron's not playing well, then somehow it's somebody else's fault. It's just hell, honestly. People can just make up their mind as to whether or not they think this is a good team or not. One minute, the media say this is a championship team, there's a surprise team, and then when they lose, which they ultimately will, then they're going to point the finger at Rob Pelinka again. I'm just getting old, honestly. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.